Hey everyone, back again. I know I've been asking you over the past few days here what you would like to see me do and how I can help you guys out. I know a lot of you are new flyers, some of you are more advanced flyers and stuff. But right now I'm going to try to concentrate on helping the newbie flyers and stuff. So one of the things I decided to do, I got a lot of good ideas. I had one idea that I really liked about choosing prop sizes and stuff for motors. And how to go from 3-blade, 4-blade to 2-blade or vice versa. And those are really good questions, and I'm going to get to those kind of questions in further episodes. But with this first episode, I think I'd like to just go over some basics, I guess you'd say. I'm getting a lot of questions about getting into the best way to get into RC flying and stuff. A couple of people said, hey, I've been doing RC cars and stuff, but I had no clue how to start out on RC flying. So we'll start with that on this first episode. I haven't decided what to call this course yet, but I'll probably have a title for it by the time you see this video up on YouTube. So I'm going to be using this plane as a demonstrator. This is 800mm P-40 Warhawk made by Airfield, available at Nitro Planes. Excellent plane, just a great flying plane. Works really well with a 1000 milliamp pack, 3-cell pack by Nitro Planes. I use the Sky Lipo. I believe they're 20 Cs. Always go with higher Cs. If you're not sure, if the price difference isn't that much, doesn't hurt to go with the higher Cs. The weight difference is negligible, and the draw that you get out of it, you can use a higher C in a jet as well as prop plane. So, anyways, with that, let's start off with a few basics on how to get started into it, into RC flying. The first recommendation I have, and actually, we'll go first 3. How's that? Simulator, simulator, simulator. Back when I started flying, didn't have simulators. I basically self-taught myself probably close to, it's been well over 15 years ago, probably closer to 18 years by the time I started actually tinkering with RC. So, you know, I did have some help from a cousin of mine who had been in it for a number of years and stuff, but he lives better than an hour away, and just couldn't get up there all the time to have him help me out. So I went through quite a few planes, quite a few crashes. So nowadays, the best way I would suggest is to go with simulator. And then the second way is to contact your local club. Almost every area has a local club, and usually there's someone there that'll be more than willing to help you out, learn to fly and stuff. And there are also some RC schools out there. I actually had considered at one time setting up an RC school. And I had a nice field for it and stuff, and unfortunately it fell through because the property came into dispute. So, unfortunately, that fell through. So I'm back to, I usually don't do the club thing too much now. I do fly with a bunch of guys, but we're not actually in an organized club. I've been working on a private field here in my yard. I'm actually flying out over the swamp and landing in the yard. I've got enough room. I was able to fly the other day. It's a very short takeoff and very short landing. You have to be very precise, but I was able to get Dynam SR trainer in and out of there a number of times with no real problems, so I'm quite happy with that. And that's a fairly large plane, 55-inch wingspan plane. So I would suggest the first thing you do is either look at getting a simulator and then going and talking to somebody at a local club and see if they can hook you up with a pilot that's willing to instruct. So as far as simulators go, somebody asked me about a simulator called Clearview. Today was the first chance I've had to actually try that out. I downloaded the demo version of it and tried it out, and for the price, it's really not that bad. The planes felt like they floated a little bit too much to me. Like the air was too dense or something. But all in all, I believe it was a $39 package, and it'll work with pretty much any controller that you can hook to your computer via USB or whatever. And it said that you could even use a regular joystick, a pad type controller. So that's kind of neat. So for $39, the graphics were pretty good and stuff. So I would probably recommend it. There's a couple other ones out there. There's Aerofly Deluxe, which has been out a while. I'm not even sure if you can get that anymore. I've had good luck with that one. Then there's also the Real Flight G4 or 5 series. My preference is the Real Flight G4. I'm still running G4. I like it. I see no need to upgrade right now. Great product. It's a little bit pricey. I'm sure that the 5 is as well. It's also a computer hog. You got to have quite a computer to do the full graphics on it and stuff. There's a couple of free ones out there as well, and they're not too bad. There's I can't even think of the name of it right at the moment, but there's one free one. I know that it comes with most transmitters. You can get you see them on eBay and stuff. It says that it's a trainer. It's basically a transmitter that hooks up to your computer via USB, and they send you a copy of this free software, flying software, and it actually works quite well. I'll try to get the name of that for you. Another good one is Phoenix. Phoenix is really good. You can buy that even with a Spectrum transmitter, which is kind of cool because then you can use the transmitter for flying planes later. So that's really kind of cool. So that would be the way that I would go, is go with a simulator and learn the basics. Even if you're self-taught, spend a lot of time on it and stuff. Then go talk to somebody at the flying field, and if you have a local flying field that you know of, and see if you can get hooked up with them. So basics of flight. So some of you probably know I've had some real flight training. Not a lot. I was flying gliders. I was solo flying gliders. I never got my license. I have done some powered flight and stuff. So there's a lot of book work that goes into that as well. So there's a lot of information that you have to comprehend and stuff. And it also fits towards RC airplanes. The same things pertain, and it's always a good thing to know. You can't have too much information. I will put this up there as well. I'll put the website. The guy's name is Pete. He has written a really comprehensive manual for RC flying, and I suggest, I want to say that the manual is about $10. You can download it, print it off, just use it online. But I would suggest, I'm going to be printing off a copy again myself. I've talked to him online a number of times. Super nice guy, Pete is. And it's a really nice, comprehensive RC flying manual. It goes through step by step. I'm going to be using some of his stuff with permission. I've talked to him. I'm going to be using some of his stuff to point out some things about RC airplanes and stuff, and techniques for flying, especially for the beginner. And so I would recommend spending the $10 and go ahead and buy that, because in the next few episodes I'll be referencing that at some point, I'm sure. So, basics of flight. A lot of people don't realize how planes actually fly, and this is one of the things that it's kind of cool. It's not necessary, but it's kind of cool to understand. A lot of people think that it's the air on the underside of the wing pushing up on the airplane. That's actually not correct. What it is you have an airfoil here. If you look, it creates a little bit of a bend, almost a bow on each side. And what that does is that creates, actually a lot of planes have a flat surface on the bottom. And what that does is that creates a low pressure, creates a turbulence across the top of the wing, and it creates a low pressure on the top, which then pulls the plane up. So it's not so much the air rushing underneath, it's actually the low pressure on top and the high pressure on the bottom, which causes the lifting effect of an airplane. So that's just a real quick basic on how the lift works. Now you've got things like angle of attack, which is basically the angle at which the plane is flying. You'll hear me reference, and other people reference, stalls. Now, I know a lot of people have come to think of stalls as, okay, the engine stops. And in an airplane, that's not it. Basically, a stall in an airplane is the point at which you no longer generate lift from the wings. And when that happens, the airplane basically stops flying and begins falling. So a lot of times you can have high-speed stalls, but a lot of times slow-speed stalls happen when you're going too slow and you pitch the nose up too much. Your angle of attack becomes too high for the wings to generate lift, and then suddenly the nose will drop, and that's called the stall break. For beginners, this is very important if you don't know this, and it's hard to do at low altitudes, but if you're at higher altitudes, I suggest you practice this. Practice slow flight, tilt it up, and then let the nose drop and recover from the stall break. What you want to do is don't keep trying to pitch the plane up. What you need to do is give it a slight bit of down, and then return it to neutral so that you can gain more air, more speed over that wing so that it begins flying again and quits dropping. And once that's established, you can level the plane out and you can pull out of it with throttle. So the other forces, you have 4 forces that are affect on the airplane. You've got lift, you've got weight, which I don't know why they call it weight instead of gravity, but they call it weight. So you got lift, you got weight, and you got thrust, and you have drag. Drag is basically, induced drag is anything that hangs off of the airframe that will cause it to slow down. You know, this little antenna here will create a little bit of induced drag. If you put a streamer off of this, it's going to create induced drag. Thrust is simply created by the motor and the prop spinning, pulling the airplane through the air. Lift is created by the wings, like I said before, and weight is simply gravity's effect on the airplane. And all 4 of those need to be in balance for the airplane to fly straight and level. So the effects of the control surfaces on an airplane, obviously you have your elevator, which pitches the airplane up and down. Okay. The effect of the ailerons rolls the plane left and right. Okay. And the effect of the rudder on a plane yaws the plane left and right. Now, if you have a high wing plane with lots of dihedral, the rudder will actually do a combination of yaw and roll at the same time. So it's almost like using the rudders. That's why a lot of your planes, a lot of your beginner planes will only have rudder, because they actually respond quite well, to rudder commands. Now, something that's got a fairly flat wing like this, low wingers, it will not respond in that manner. You can be flying along and give full rudder over, and it'll basically kind of tail slide like this. It will actually slide like this and kind of fly in that orientation. So you're really supposed to use a combination of aileron and rudder when turning. With smaller planes, it's not 100% necessary. The best time that I find to use rudder is lining up on the runway. Most of the time I use aileron to make my banks, and then a little bit of elevator to pull through those corners to make a tighter corner. And when I'm lining up on the runway, I will line up, get the plane level, and then if I need to adjust myself left or right like this, I use rudder. So occasionally, depending on the plane, there are some planes that you have to use rudder in order to make the turn properly. So anyways, I think I'll wrap that up for this episode, and I'm going to get my stuff together, and we're going to start doing some a little more in-depth things. And I'm going to try to help the newbie flyers and the people that want to get into flying a little bit more, and hopefully we'll advance on to some maybe even advanced maneuvers once we get to that point. You know, we'll start off with some simple stunts, loops, rolls, stuff like that. Then maybe on into inverted flight. Talk to you later.